Parliament is not available to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago to have their views and questions raised and to allow the government to be held to account using this instrument of democracy. I demand the immediate convening of the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago so the citizens can have that facility available to them. Yesterday and today are very sad days for the citizens of this country because we have a government that has declared that it is unable to reduce crime while preserving the rights of our citizens, the civic rights of our citizens. I listened to Dr. Rambachan, who is responsible for communication, and he didn't even appear to know if there was a state of emergency in place or whether there was a limited state of emergency. And these are very fundamental questions. Right from the beginning, the government's communication has been very poor on this matter. And as a member of parliament, I've been receiving calls from right across Diego Martin, people who are confused, persons are unsure of what conditions obtain at present, and the government has not managed this properly. Sometimes it's not what is done, but how it is done. And I don't think the government has been doing as good a job as they should under these circumstances, and given the fact that the stakes are very high. We are all aware that there has been some growing industrial tension in this country, and suddenly the government has, effectively withdrawn significant constitutional protection from hundreds of thousands of our citizens.
But Dr. Browne, the government has argued that your government has brought the country, your previous government brought the country to this level. I mean, the murder rate was much higher than it is now, and it's putting the blame squarely on your shoulders.
Well, I don't think it's a case of political blaming. I don't think there's any government in the world that sets about to increase crime or facilitate crime. I think we would all agree, though, Dominic, that a state of emergency is a last resort for any democracy. And the government would have to demonstrate that they have taken all possible measures, as any responsible government would do, all measures before they play this particular card. And when you look at the government's record with regard to controlling serious crime, this government's record is a very poor one. The measures that they've taken before the state of emergency include cancelling the OPVs, dismantling SORT, removing the airship, removing police outposts, cancelling youth camps, scaling down MILAT, etc., etc., etc. I don't think an objective observer can say that the government has approached this in a strategic manner with proper respect for the citizens' rights. They have not demonstrated how this state of emergency will really reduce the crime situation, but are depending on desperate citizens to sort of sit back and assume that, okay, it sounds like a very strong measure, sounds impressive, maybe it would work. That's not good enough in 2011. So it's not a matter of playing political blame games, but looking at what the government is doing, understanding what it's doing, I don't even think they understand, and seeking to hold them to account. That is an opposition's job. That's our duty. Without the parliament being convened, an important facility is removed from the citizens, and I demand that the government convene parliament with immediate effect.
Dr. Browne, even though it was the government, the Prime Minister, that announced the state of emergency, it was the President that proclaimed it. It means that the President agrees that such drastic action is needed.
Well, the President, it would be very unusual for the President not to act on the advice of the Prime Minister in such matters. And others within the PNM have already raised the issue of public pressure being brought on the President, with grand national announcements being made even before the President had given his decision, etc. But again, cannot be expected to sit back and take it on good faith that any of these higher authorities have made the right decisions if they are not given the opportunity to properly question what is taking place and properly understand what the government, the President, or any other arm of state is doing at this time. There is mass confusion out there. Today, the Minister of National Security made an announcement about passes being available at your nearest police station. Persons visited. I myself visited my nearest police station. The officers there looked at me with almost amusement, because they said they have no passes, they've received no communication from the Ministry of National Security with regard to passes, and they were looking and listening to the media in the same way that citizens would. It is clear that the communication is non-existent, but yet you have government ministers making pronouncements to our citizens.
Is it significant to you that the police commissioner is nowhere around? Maybe returning from Canada tomorrow, I told. But the state of emergency is imposed and he's not around?
It is unprecedented. It is my understanding that he's on vacation, and I do not know how a state of emergency can be declared in a country with such an expensive police commissioner and recalled from vacation. If he's in Toronto or wherever he is, it tells me that he's irrelevant to these decisions and these actions, and therefore he should be dismissed. That's the conclusion I come to.
Dr. Amery Browne, PNM MP, thank you for joining us.